Hi, everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Freddy, and this is the book genre tag. And I was tagged by Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures, and I will include the link in the description box below. Now, if you don't know from the lighting, it is slightly darkish because it's actually early morning here, and I have never really done an early morning video. So let's see if this is going to be any different in terms of in terms of presentation or tone or whatever. Um, but anyway, okay, this is the book genre tag, and apparently how this works is there are going to be a few questions, of course, as per normal, but some of the questions, I think most of the questions in the beginning, uh, for those questions, I have to choose one book genre because that genre is going to be applied to those questions. Usually, I just read literary fiction, but I can't imagine using that because that is like literally way too broad, and so I think I'm just gonna limit it to domestic fiction. And okay, for the purpose of this video, I'm going to define domestic fiction as fiction that deals with family, so family relationships, family uh, tension, family feuds, and all those things. Everything about family. So, right, let's get started with the question using family fiction or domestic fiction as the theme. And so the first one would be one of my favorite standalone books. This is I actually have many favorite books, so it's kind of hard to pick just one book for this question, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. Just one book. So one book that I like is A Short History of Tractors in Ukrainian, and this book was written by Marina Luika. So this book, it is about this relationship between two sisters who are kind of, I'd say, feuding with each other, and so of course there's already drama from that. But one day, their old father, brings home a girlfriend, and this girlfriend is from the Ukraine, and like she's really young. And soon after that, the sister discovered that this girlfriend may not have the best interest of the old father in mind. This girlfriend seemed to be a gold digger, and so these two sisters, they kind of band together in order to kind of like go up against this gold digging girlfriend of their old father. And I thought that this book is really funny. I was really entertained by this book. Um, there were a few bits or scenes in this book that feel kind of stereotypical, but overall, I like the story and I like the writing, the narration, especially. It felt really humorous. And now we're moving on to the next question, and that will be what will be my favorite series. And for this question, I don't think I have a definitive answer for this because I don't really read series. In fact, this year, anything that was close to a series was My Brilliant Friend. And even that one, okay, My Brilliant Friend by Elena Ferrante, and even that one was actually the first book in a series. And I have not read the second and third, even though I recently acquired those. And so I really like the first book, but I can't say that I'm going to like the whole series because I've not read the books after that. Next, what is a trope that I like in this genre? Even in this genre, the scope is like really broad. I think there are so many things that you could say, but one of the tropes that I like is when in-laws are good with each other. So it doesn't matter whether it's between son-in-law and mother-in-law, or brother and sisters-in-laws, usually I think it's really easy to see or to have a story where in-laws are are not being in a really good relationship with each other, because generally in-laws tend to feel like outsiders. So one of the things that I do like seeing in this genre is when in-laws are treating each other well. And next question would be, of course, about the trope that I don't like in this genre. And I actually do think that the role of a step parent, especially stepmother, to be or to be quite easily stereotyped into this evil step parent kind of a situation. Unless if it is done well, I usually don't really like seeing this kind of trope, because it feels so tired. It's really stale, and if if an author really wants to write a bad stepmother, that author has to write it like really really well, like really step up the game, really make the stepmother something, not just bad, but really something. Next question is a disappointing book in the genre, and I think I've mentioned this in videos, uh, you know, a while ago, and it was The Gathering by N. Wright. And I actually came to that book with some expectation, but turned out it was just so flat and boring. And it was about this death of a one of the siblings in the family, and the narrator, she comes to the funeral, but I think up until the point that I read in the book, um, she was just feeling all depressed, and supposedly there will be this revelation on what happened in the past to that sibling and to her, but I never really got into that part. Of course, I kind of knew what happens because I read the synopsis, because I gave up on that book. And but in general, that book was just so boring. I couldn't continue, so it was really disappointing. Next is a book that's on my TBR that I want to get soon. So for this, I actually have a lot. Therefore, I'm just gonna choose one. And one that I could think off the top of my head would be Anne Patchett's Commonwealth. I look at this cover and I feel like, I feel nice inside. Sometimes covers have that magic. But anyway, for this book, I am not entirely sure what is it going to be really about. But from what I could gather, from what I could remember, um, there's going to be a kiss between two members of a family, I think, and that kiss is going to stir things up. I think. I think there's going to be a kiss in the beginning. If you've read this book, maybe you can confirm that. So, okay, next question. The seventh one would be an intimidating book or series. And I would say anything by William Faulkner. And recently, I finished this book by him. It's The Sound and the Fury, which was a part of read along that I did in August. And this book was certainly quite intimidating at first, and even after I finish it, I would say that there is still that uh, residual feeling of intimidation. Okay, so I think that's kind of like the end of the questions concerning that one particular genre. The next few questions are going to be fairly general. And so the next one would be what is another book genre that I really want to read more of? There are a few actually genres that I want to explore more. Um, there are two that I would kind of put a bit high up there. The first one would be science fiction, and I certainly want to kind of explore more of science fiction and see how things work in science fiction. I'm not talking about how the science work and all those things. I want to see how the genre convention works in science fiction, how people, the human condition is actually being explored in the world of science fiction. The next one is fantasy, and fantasy. I don't know. I kind of have this expectation that perhaps fantasy would be the genre that is able to transport me to a different world, different dimension. So far, from most of my readings, I never really recall having this feeling of being transported to somewhere different, because most of the time I'm reading a book that is kind of set in the real world, and so whenever I'm being transported somewhere, I'm always being transported to the real world. And so I really want to see if fantasy is going to make me do this, and therefore this is also one of the genres that I really, really want to get into. And number 9 is, what book genre intimidates me the most? Um, this is kind of easy. Uh, I am kind of scared of philosophical fiction. I generally don't really enjoy novels that would actually have like a long section in it that pretty much just become a filibuster on certain political or philosophical stance. Um, but if the novel does it well, and that is by blending the philosophical thoughts into the narration of the fictional characters, then I think I would certainly pick that up, and I might even like it. So I guess that's it for this video. I'll see you again in another one, and until then, take care and bye bye.